Hannah Sieber is here with me from TriTogether, free virtual tutoring for kids in foster care, kinship care, and adopted out of foster care in Massachusetts. Good morning, Hannah. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again. It's been, maybe a year?
Yeah, it's wild.
And you guys were new when you first came.
We were newly going after it, I'd say.
Okay.
We went from a passion project to a real project, and it definitely grew.
That's awesome.
We definitely grew.
Well, let's get caught up. I mentioned what TriTogether is really quickly, but expand on that a bit.
Yeah, so we provide free tutoring for kids in foster care, kinship care, which is like if an aunt takes someone in or something like that. And adopted out of foster care. Initially, we were just foster care. We learned kind of from some of the organizations we worked with that kinship care in terms of resources and struggles is very similar. So we welcomed that in. And then after talking to a lot of our foster parents who planned to adopt, it became apparent that they lose a ton of their resources when they sign those papers.
Yeah.
And the kids' trauma and being behind in school did not go away when they signed that paper. So we also started including adopted out of foster care. I think when I talked to you the previous school year, we had like 4 students and 3 tutors because, one had 2 students. And now I think, ended last school year with 32 students. And we worked really hard to have extra tutors, so we were always ready. And I think we had like 50 tutors ready to go.
Wow.
So it was a wild ride, and we're excited for it to grow even more this year. That's what it's looking like.
I got to imagine that within the school system, there's not a lot of help for kids that you help out, right? Because they're so, they're busy with so much, and teachers can only put out so much care and love. So TriTogether is a very important organization. Are you working with schools? Where they will send you people like, we just can't help Jimmy. Can you help?
Yeah. So one thing that we've noticed is we talk to a lot of outside resources, and trauma-informed learning is a really important thing. So if a kid has experienced trauma, they will also experience stress in a different way. They might be triggered by it. They might express their reaction in different ways. So that kid you see in the back of the classroom snapping pencils, it might not just be because the kid's like, hey, it's going to be fun to snap pencils in the back of the room. And teachers are not. I was a teacher. I was not trained on that. And as you said, I had 30 students in the room, and I went from block to block. And obviously I wanted to help every kid. But that's just, how do I sit down with a kid who's 4 grade levels behind? We had a student this year who was 4 grade levels behind, but still in 4th grade. So sometimes we get students from schools. More likely, we get students from, foster care placement organizations or foster parents themselves. And they connect us with the school and say like, hey, here's, Miss Smith, and she's going to tell you what they're behind on in math because I really don't know.
Right.
And that is unbelievably helpful. And, huge shout out to those teachers who are on 4 million emails a day already and with kids constantly and are still willing to be on yet another email thread.
Right.
So it's really amazing.
What is the process as far as educating and tutoring these kids? Is it much different than other standard tutors? Like, what do you have to go through to educate a child that's in the system?
Yeah, so we do an asynchronous training for our tutors. And part of that is talking about like how to de-escalate a student. We are very clear with our tutors. They are not therapists, and unless they are in their side gig, and they are not social workers, and they are not even mostly a teacher. So they should not in any way attempt to be one. But for example, starting a session with like 5 minutes of funny videos, or a lot of our tutors will incorporate games.
I'll put the kids at ease.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you would hope other tutors would do that, but the importance of it is different. The level of communication we do to check like where they are in class because they're so behind. We also do emphasize trauma-informed learning and making sure our tutors understand, like, if you get this reaction, they're not being disrespectful, or,
right.
Trying to make sure they're kind of in the loop on that.
So you're training the reaction, right?
Yes.
You train them to react properly, because it'd be easy to just say, I'm done, I can't, you're not focusing, and you're a pain in the butt, but these kids are going through stuff.
Totally. And it's wild to hear some of their stories. This year, for the first time, we did intake meetings with our students. So instead of just trusting the form that someone filled out and going from there, we met with every student and someone on their care team. So, foster parent, social worker, adoptive parent, whatever. and we like try to figure out how we can reach them. And part of that is making sure they know we are volunteers. Because what I learned from a lot of foster parents is that we might be the only person in their life who is not paid to be there.
Right.
And like, wow,
that is crazy.
Yeah, that hit me. So making sure they know that and they know our expectations and we're really clear on our expectations of behavior, all really important things.
What's the reaction? Because, I mean, all kids don't want to deal with tutoring once they get home from school. Kids don't want to go through that. I was a kid. I needed tutoring. I fought it.
Yeah.
Right? So what's the reaction like from the kids when you first introduce yourselves to them?
Great question. So I would say they fall into a few buckets. One is the student who desperately wants a tutor and has asked for a tutor. You know, the fourth grader who was 4 grade levels behind was just honestly really jealous that her friends could read and she couldn't. She felt left out. Her friends loved reading. So she's like, I'm clearly missing something.
So she realized the issue.
She knew it. She could see it around her because she was not held back. So she was just in a room, not able to read with kids reading. So she was thrilled. We've had kids similarly like, I like math, but why can't I figure it out? Help me. We've also had a lot of kids who didn't want to be there. We had to start setting really clear expectations. Like, if you don't show up, we're not going to keep this volunteer, you know, showing up every week when they could be tutoring someone else or just like have their hour back a week. So we had to start being really clear about like, at what point do we stop tutoring someone? You know, if they're not showing up, we're not really tutoring them anyway.
Yeah. And that's something you don't want. That's like a last resort, I'm sure.
Yes.
So you're going to fight to get that kid back before you close the books.
Yeah, and we have a head of programming who often meets with tutors to kind of get to the bottom of like, hey, so this kid, you know, maybe they're participating for the second half or the first half, but it's hard to get them warmed up or whatever. Like, what can you do? Tell me about the kid. Tell me about their interests.
Oh, good. So your tutors have resources they can turn to.
Yes, we've worked really hard on that this year. So, for example, we allow tutors to, you know, apply is the wrong word, but to ask for certain resources from websites like Teachers Pay Teachers. So like worksheets and stuff. They're volunteers. I don't want them spending hours a week creating extra problems. So we're happy to provide that for them. They have our training. They have right now 2 people they can reach out to, you know, just besides me and myself, to say like, hey, I'm having a hard time teaching this. Like sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, when was the last time I did fractions? Like, even if you're good at math. So to meet with our people and make sure you're up to speed is really helpful.
And talk about some of the success stories. I'm sure there's many. We talked about the child that was 4 years behind her peers. But what about some of the success stories? And I'm sure that one will be a success story if the kid is willing to put the work in.
Yeah, and she is, and it's awesome. My favorite is a student who was adopted out of foster care who was taking what they called Math Plus, which was, yes, you're in math class like a normal everyday student, but you're also taking a second math class during basically your elective block to catch you up on the math that you're clearly behind on in those fundamentals. I think it's an awesome program. I love that they're catching her up, but she couldn't take art because she was in Math Plus. Yeah. And we caught her up and now she's in art and gym. Oh, good. And like, you just want to be like your friends, you know, like it's high school, it's middle school. These kids just want to fit in and they just want to have a little bit of fun in their day. They spend their whole day being told what to do. So whatever we can do to catch them up and let them have that fun. Yeah.
When the kids come home from school, I never really put them to work or the summer. It let them enjoy their summer because their job is school and they're at school for a long time during the day. So I'm the same way as you are there.
A lot of our students did take the summer off, although I think we had 12 students continue through the whole summer because and those were the students who wanted to, right? Yeah. The students who were like, no, I want to be ready when school starts.
So like the girl that is now in art, these aren't all dire situations. It's not like if we don't get tutoring, then they're going to flunk out of school and never go back and become drug addicts. Sometimes it's just somebody that just needs a boost.
Yeah, we have a wide range. We do see a lot of students who come to us, and a little too late is not quite accurate, but like right on the line of too late, where it's like the social worker's like, hey, they're failing 5 out of their 6 classes and we don't want to hold them back. There's only so much we can do if it's already the end of the school year. Right. Some of it is just giving those kids the confidence that like, hey, like we just did a prom and you did the whole thing. Like clearly you can do this. So just like do your work.
So there's a lot of positive reinforcement.
Yes, definitely.
And a lot of directness. Do the work. Just do the work and you'll get it. You know what it is.
And this year we tutored kindergarten through college. So it depends on, tutors have to kind of figure out their kiddo, right? Every kid's different, but also like working with a first grader who's running around the room trying to bring you all their toys to show you is very different than an 11th grader who just wants to pass calculus.
Sure.
Like this is just a different experience, which is why when we talk to tutors, like some tutors don't want to tutor an elementary school kid, whereas some tutors would love to teach someone to read.
It's who they're comfortable teaching or being
Exactly.
in front of.
Exactly. So it's subject and age, right? Because like some of our tutors are awesome at elementary school math, but they're like, I could never tutor calculus. So we're not interested in putting them in a position where they're not helpful and they're uncomfortable.
Where do you find your volunteers?
Great question. So most of our volunteers right now are either college students or recently graduated but found us during college. We have a lot of students. We reach out to, I can't even count the number of colleges. We reach out to their community service department. Sometimes we reach out to their like math and ESL departments directly, so that we can, the professors can reach out to people. So like we get a lot from Simmons University because I went there. I'm an adjunct there. So I know the people to email. We have a ton from Northeastern because they have a really active volunteer newsletter, BU as well, a lot of these schools. And we get a lot of students who want to be teachers or social workers, but we also get a lot of students who, were National Honor Society in high school and got to tutor. And now they're like, what now? I miss that. And I love that too. I love it all.
Why do you think they want to tutor or volunteer, I should say? Like, what is it about what you guys do, TriTogether, that makes people want to volunteer?
Yeah, I think if you as someone who has tutored for a very long time, if you like to tutor, it's kind of addicting.
Is it
really cool?
Yeah.
Because instead of, I was in the classroom. It's hard. There's a lot of classroom management, but in a one-on-one setting, you basically are just their cheerleader. And all you have to do, well, not all you have to do, what you have to do is to figure out what that means to that student. And it's very cool. And in this case, you're really getting to choose what age and what subject you're covering. I think it's also, a lot of these tutors could go out and get paid to be tutors, right? Realistically. And we are all volunteers. I'm a volunteer. They're volunteers. We're all volunteers. So I think there's something about wow, this is so obviously a population that needs our support. Where is that support? And I helped start the Massachusetts Statewide Foster Care Alliance this year, which is an organization of, I want to say 20 or 30 other nonprofits that help kids in foster care across the state. And we meet quarterly to just give ideas
what can we do to
support
help?
each other. Yeah, exactly. And no one else is in education. And it's sort of mind-boggling because it seems like such a gap.
Yeah.
But we filled that gap, and that's really cool.
That's awesome. You're a volunteer. You have plenty of volunteers that work there, but there is money involved. You still have to run the program. Where do you where do you get your funding?
So this was really our first year of very actively fundraising. Honestly, I was just funding it myself before then because it was a passion project. That's what you do with a passion project.
Yeah.
We've done a little bit of work with grants. That will get a little bigger this year because now we have stats from the previous year to show for it, which was hard in the past. And, they're good stats. So that's also helpful.
Yeah.
We've had a bunch of individual donors, which has been fabulous. We had some corporate donors, and we actually just started a new program called Local Bites, Local Impact, where small businesses or large businesses can sponsor an event and they invite their network. Their network, buys tickets, which are a tax-deductible donation. And we provide appetizers and drinks at a restaurant, and they can share what they do with their network. We will share what we do with their network, makes them look good. We get fundraising done. Everyone wins. And we have one of those that's going to happen in September and one in October. So I'm really excited.
Oh, can you say where?
Yes. So September 24th, location TBD.
Okay.
October 22nd, Rapscallion in Hopkinton.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'll be posting about both of those.
I was just there a couple weeks ago. It's a great place.
I hear it's great.
And a great company.
Oh, awesome. I love that.
That's
I'm
awesome.
even more excited.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to help out?
Yeah, the best way they can get in touch is to visit our website or email me. My email, if you're going to get it on radio, is Hannah with an H at the end at tritogether.org. And TriTogether is spelled with an I, TriTogether. Oh my goodness, I just forgot how to spell together.
TriTogether.
No, Ether. You know how to spell together, so do it with a TRI and you're good.
Yeah, is it right? Yeah, TriTogether.
Yeah, there you go.
I read it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but you know what? I say it all day, every day when I read my email to people, and I still couldn't do it. So whatever.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much. Let's keep in touch too. It's been too long. A year's too long.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
When those September's right around the corner.
I know.
You said
Wild.
September, October?
Yep.
It's like in a few weeks.
I know.
All right. When you have more information, let me know.
I will. Thank you.
I'll have you back on.
Thank you for having me.
It is 8:50, so that does it for me. Stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all. I'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow morning.